So I'm still alive. Makeup's kind of still there. I was just like, I just wiped my eye right before I started this. But anyway, so I remember leaving off pretty much where I was talking about trying to file a claim with the Equal Employment Opportunity Center. I know I'm gonna say EEOC a lot, but just bear with me as I do that because for the sake of brevity, I guess it's just like tired of talking about this shit. Have a lot of updates, I guess, to give. Life updates, good in a good way, and fucking Diddy's finally in jail. Let's go, you know. But that's just the bigger part of the whole problem. I guess to maybe start of it, but thankfully to Cassie, which is awesome, because like if it wasn't for her, just you know, there was a picture. I was like, if I make this video once I do this again at some point, yes, to remind you guys I'm still alive and all that shit. Fucking unwashed ass, nasty hair. The picture of Cassie when she's like out and about after finding out that he was arrested, and she's all like, yes. Without further ado, that feeling was let's say I guess confirmed at some point once we finally get to it because I'd just rather finish this up at some point and not it be like a fucking 30-45 minute video. Just for those that have put up with my rambling at this point for so long, I really appreciate it. It's hard to really sort my thoughts out, not in a let's say like just just to keep it clear and concise, but also not get emotional and things like that. For not being in therapy at the moment, but I did just start therapy recently, so there we go. Cool. So anyway, I just got music to kind of. I got like Tron instrument, Tron instrumental music. I can't even talk. I'm just kind of super stoked to be like, hey, we're still breathing, we're still kicking. Um, Besides this shit making me like already like extremely anxious and all that, let's go ahead and just get it over with because details and everything and all, I just felt like that shit should be included in case somebody might probably have gone through the same. And sometimes it's hard to just fucking know anybody else that might have gone through about it or has know about it and know has somebody has gone through about it unless they talk about it. So that's just me. Just why not start that conversation? So I think I remember I made a joke of it being like it's April 20th, things like that. Um, that was when I had filed the claim with the EEOC or the Equal Employment Opportunity Center. But around that time, I don't know if this is when I had uploaded the video or not. It's like 5 months ago. So, ooh, I know that there was somebody that is some of you might be familiar with her. Kyle Marissa. She's really, I'd say famous. Like she got like to a million people on TikTok, which is, I mean, you gotta be impressive to do that. But we share the same birthday, and she passed away like in April, like right as soon as I started fucking making these videos, and I was like, or I found out that same week, and I was just like fucking. It's still kind of affected me to this day, like to the point where it affected my appetite. Like I was fine, ball was rolling until that happened. I know life happens and shit, but that's just how I unfortunately spiral without having therapy at the moment. And amongst many other reasons I'd rather ramble on about, that's not what we're here for, but just mainly wanted to bring awareness to like this entire little like docket of information. I wouldn't have written all this down unless it didn't feel like necessary for it to just be said aloud, blah blah blah. So, excuse me. I'm kind of drinking this drink right now. It's carbonated. But anyway, so around that time, let's see. I put like this is like we're in March, and I'm still working. I'm just trying to make sure I'm still working wherever I'm at because this is where it gets really, really dishonest as first where it comes to my dishonest in terms of like how this entire situation is being treated from the get-go at a professional standpoint, and I'm just here to like help run a fucking store. Like I don't really give a shit. I'm just part of my. I'm just doing a fucking job, dude. But this was almost like 10 years ago too. So like I know. Anyway, uh, I'm not trying to keep fucking saying that a lot because that bothers me. But this started to become a transitional period of the store I originally started working at, and all this shit happened of where this whole video series came into play just because I want to put it out there. It started with getting promoted and then not getting paid correctly. Also getting paid minimum wage, working like 40 hours, having the key to the fucking store, like the key to the city, like fucking, yeah, straight up. I could have let that shit run in shambles, but I chose to let that be a learning opportunity for me because that was probably from my coping mechanisms throughout not receiving therapy, just being poor as shit, of distracting myself with that type of work, like challenging myself, I guess. So, with that just being said, it's just kind of, if anybody cares, whatever, that's why. But at some point down the road, I got to the point where I fucking had, it was up until March 11th, and I guess I cut it off there because I had 9.5 hours, and the retaliation really, like, just kind of unfolded in the weirdest of ways because whoever I'm just profiling as they, as in, like, the people that could have done something about it in the first place, and instead of just letting it like fucking go on, because it was 2 weeks. Excuse my language. I know some people. Anyway, 2 months had pretty much occurred, and I was like, why the fuck am I getting like the worst? Did I get that many taxes taken? Am I really gonna get income tax refund? Nope. And after pretty much doing the math and bringing that to a friend's mom's attention that kind of served as like a mentor figure to me, she's like, no. Because the only reason why she said that is because she has gone through a lawsuit, but against like the United States Postal Service, like a fucking government entity. So like, she pretty much understood what I was getting to with just even the beginning of this. Like, we can all understand that, but the retaliation, that's where she was like, oh shit. And they wouldn't let me have her speak, like, on behalf, I guess, as a witness, because she was kind of really pretty much, anyway, I know I'm rambling, but throughout the entire period, just witnessed, like, not this downfall, but this disintegration of my mental health as this shit started to, they just purposefully, I think, like, you know, I want to say, like, stalled it just for that sake, just to make me, you know, like, the worst state of mind possible once this stuff happens, and then I'm gonna, like, sometimes that fucking is true. Tinfoil hat shit, I know, but anyway, so, watching me basically mentally deteriorate to the point where I was doubting myself about this whole situation, even though despite, like, one of the people that was working there, Summer, I don't know, it's been so long since I'm like, I don't, anyway, I'm just gonna name names, because it's not really, like, there's no NDAs or none of that shit. One of the, Summer, she's one of the assistant general managers too, but she was one of the managers that called the store manager, dad. That just still, like, fucks with me. She's complaining loudly about a customer. I really hate that woman. She probably said, I really hate that bitch. I don't know. I'll probably just put that. I don't know. But, this shit really pisses me off. I want to slap her. So, they were saying that that's not enough evidence for a toxic work environment, which I thought was kind of bullshit, for that just not even being worth enough, not being looked into. And the only person to really bring that to attention, but like everybody else is kind of just going about their own merry way, you know, like, someone's got to think the same fucking thing at some point. Come on. So, I apologize, but yeah, it was at some point when I started working at the other store. That's what I was like, it's story time. Oh shit. So uh, make sure you got your cup refilled. If not, go do that or pause it now. So yeah, this was I think I just wanted to make sure. No, I don't think that is the same day, but did I write this down? Oh, I think I had. Oh, okay, hang on. Oh shit, page. So I know my shit. I did not make sure that this was prepared beforehand, but for the most part, pretty sure this is where we are because I just remember this and one of these is like we got a Janet Ass Jackson. What the hell? So yeah, I must have probably just forgot to include that. Yeah. But this guy basically was heavily adamant. It was very clear that this guy was on something that if you abuse it, then in an orally taken form, it that's like only like pharmaceutically, inclined to be administered to you by a doctor. Let's say it like that. I don't know, but some people obtain it illegally. I can't remember what the fuck it was, but yeah, we just sat here for like 5 minutes as I'm sitting here going through this. But so this guy was like on pills, and I kind of could just tell right off the bat because I was opening that day, and I was like, "Hey," and the look in his eyes kind of really confirmed it that like the light. I want to say the lights were on, but nobody was home, type of shit. So besides that, I keep saying that shit so much. I'm like, so what's he? It's like he's over he's talking to himself and I overhear it or something. Like he's definitely not coherent to be a delivery driver because that's what he was scheduled to do that day was be a delivery driver. And I don't know why this one reminded me of it, I guess because at some point I asked somebody how they were doing, like like how you doing, but usually it's you can choose to respond that if how or if you will, like you can be a dick about it. You could be like, I'm doing good, I'm very like eccentric or something in that eclectic in the aspect. And dude just ignores me. So I was like, that's fine. I understand. Like nobody wants to fucking talk, and stuff like that. And I'm definitely not like SpongeBob. Like, hey, hope everybody's doing great. So I remember I think that guy asked me a lot of the times how I was doing, and then I was just trying to be like, hey, I'm seeming concerned. How are you? Or something. And dude just kind of lets it be, which is fine. I understand, but. it didn't help really make me feel better in turn. It made me feel more left out. Like, this shit has made me feel so alone in terms of why the fuck I fought so hard for it for so long, because I knew what I was doing was for the right reasons. But throughout that, a lot of people started just, I don't want to say like lose faith or some shit, but started really kind of just like, kind of, it's almost like you lose somebody close to you, and you're like, just fucking get over it already. That's kind of how it feels, and for the most part, I found out the news that it didn't go in favor 4 years ago. So it's like it's seen 2 months or 3 months. It'll be like 5 years from now. So I've had some dreams about it. I think I want to say here recently, but like as of this year, probably like a few or some shit. But ultimately, the guy that is messed up on pills, he's making deliveries at this point. I'm sitting here like, oh shit. I shouldn't have even like let that happen in the first place, because at some point as the day went on, this guy was swerving over lanes, almost hitting people, as people were calling the store to be like, hey, I don't know if you guys knew this or not, but there's, and you have to have that little topper on your car, so like it indicates that, you know, you're working for a specific place if you're causing some tomfoolery. And eventually the guy wrecks his car, and also sucks because he lives in the same neighborhood at the time as me, or lived in the same neighborhood together at this time, and it was very fucking awkward. But yeah, so yeah, dude crashed his car, and the only way I found out about that at that point, I remember, damn it, but I just remember somebody saying like, "Hey, saw his car, and I think it's crashed over by this like highway not too far off. That's a bypass, and the name of it." I was like, if you are capable, please go and pick him up so we can just have him here at the store and just apprehensively have him kind of not like held hostage, but definitely that wasn't the case. No, I'm trying to keep saying no. So, dude, so anyway, once they had finally gotten him, I had gotten on the phone with him as that was happening. Like, I called his phone and I was like, "Hey, dude, are you okay?" And yeah, like I could not believe, like, that whole fucking thing was a fucking movie. So throughout that, once he finally gets back to the store, the people that were working there that were younger than me, I don't remember exactly, but there was like a group of like, I wouldn't say teenagers, but I just turned 30. Either way, it doesn't matter. But this is just to give you a time frame, and they saw that like I wasn't really giving a shit about trying to run like it, not like fucking Gordon Ramsay type shit, but definitely not using the same vocabulary or anything like that, and not calling anybody a donkey or anything. To the standard of what the how he reacts when the customer is like, you know. So there we go. I know I say like a lot too, but anyway, once they finally located the guy and then fucking like brought him back, I don't know what I think his car got towed or something, but anyway, I think I got that's how fucking traumatizing this shit was for me. The wife, I can't remember when at some point I had gotten in contact with her. I think she physically showed up as they were searching for him, or as his like excursion was happening and hadn't wrecked yet. But she found out or something. She was like, "Hey, so I have to be at work. Can you like make sure he just doesn't leave here?" And I was just kind of sitting there and like, That's not my responsibility. I'm sorry, but anyway, there was a point in time after finally they get him at the store, and I asked one of the people there that was, I think, part of like the search party group, right? I was gonna call them that, and they fucking some of them were like friendly, some of them were like thinking I just like didn't have their best interests at heart or something. I don't know. Like if I kept them past like 5 minutes or that's where I feel like I'm a fucking teacher just sitting here fucking venting at therapy or some shit. Um, I don't know. There was some weird like personal vendetta some people just have. Just can't help it. It doesn't matter who you are. So I asked them to help me print a write up, like just a piece of paper like this. That's like, you read it, and I was like, oh, I committed something. I gotta sign it. I just wanted to, so I would lose my fucking job. I'm just trying to cover my ass because at that point, I was already trying to prove with points and evidence of the fact that not only I was like SA'd at work from retaliation, but also from the beginning of it, it was just like it was just a fucking conglomerate bloodbath beginning to fucking happen. As I'm like getting in touch with the regional supervisor, the regional guy, and he's like, "You're not getting the strong arm on this one." I was just sitting there like, in my car. I know I'd already told this story, but I'm sitting there like, same thing. Like, whoa! And he heard my vape. I just never forget that. And he's like, "What is that sound?" He thought I was like hitting like some Cheech and Chong shit or something. I don't know. It must have been one of them like huge vapes I had or something. But anyway, it was also raining at the time too, so you could like hear the raindrops like hitting the windshield. Anyway, I didn't get the right form printed, so what I had this guy sign essentially was just like, I don't even know. I can't remember. I'm trying to right now. Just basically like I acknowledged something, and it was like no disciplinary action type looking document. So I don't remember. I was so like, this is where my hyper awareness came in after my stepfather had passed away, and the addiction epidemic. That's a different story for another day. But it's really incredibly heightened that sense of awareness, so much so where after homie signs the thing, I think no, he didn't sign it at first. I had to literally be like, hey, I'm not trying to get you fired. I'm just trying to like do my job, like this is normally the protocol. And yeah, like I'm not here to be your enemy. And next thing I know, I just see a bag of change, like those little plastic or like the Ziploc zipper, zipper bag. You put change in to like fucking go to the bank with or some shit. You see, the people usually at the bank with that shit. I don't know who. If you tote that shit, respect to you. But like, this dude fucking like I think he underhanded it because there was the force to it. I felt the wind of it like just brush past my face, and I remember I just didn't sit there because that's how over it I was. And it was not only just the mental aspect of how I was like, fuck this, but I was like, man, I wish that could have hit me. I swear to God, it was so fucking close. Like, by the grace of, like, almost something that happened recently in 2024, but no, it was like so close. Not that that could have been it, but that still wasn't enough evidence for a toxic work environment. So there you go. And I guess the reason just throughout this I'm commenting too is like the reason for these is like even when you get those types of responses, don't fucking let that like discourage you. And I'm gonna say the F bomb a lot. I'm just unfiltered. I can't do that first. I think like you could probably see the gradual just I don't give a fuckness. um, the YouTube journey. I'm not very delicate about anyway. So this is a very serious fucking topic. You know, some people have gone through worse than me. So any point in time where your gut's like you need to fucking anyway, you know. So when that happened, that's when my heightened sense of awareness, though, I wanted to mention that because it really sucked after his wife was like, can you basically babysit him? And I'm like, girl, I get off in like not even an hour from now. And finally had gotten dude back to the store safe and shit. Like, I swear to God, that fucking day, if it had gone any fucking worse, dude, I don't know. I probably might have had a mental breakdown. I don't know how I did not have one, but through that, I just kind of was like, I want to say played enough from like super crazy video games, like some under pressure shit, like fucking Uncharted. That's not like a hard game, but you know, you gotta make quick fucking decisions type shit. And besides that, the retaliation had gotten to where I'm basically working at a different store now. So that's why I mentioned the guy throwing the bag of change at me, because I'm working at an entirely different store, even though at first it wasn't really formally brought to my attention like, hey, you're going to be transferred. It was like my hours started to just gradually decline, and like I went through Microsoft Excel to make this shit, but it was like the most hours was like 30 something. And this was after the I won't say the retaliation started, but it just feels bad to say that. Like, don't fucking hold back. But anyway, 30 hours around January of 2018. I think that was around when I had gotten my ass grabbed. So once that had happened, I was just basically refilling like the drink cooler, and it was like one of those. I think I've already explained it, but for the most part, to this fucking day, anytime somebody like I still get wary when somebody just I don't like people walking behind me, and yeah, so the hours gradually got to where I worked 3 hours before the last week. I think finally working. That's where I'm like I can't remember where I fucking. They held this against my word in the deposition, and I'm sitting here like, I know what you're talking about. I can't remember exactly what day I started working at this other store because it was just so fucking, like I worked at the two stores in like one day, I think at some point. So like that's where they really they made sure I think to just trudge the shit out of that. So it's like nobody really has a clear understanding of that. So fucking literally 3 hours, like 5 o'clock to 10. No wait, 17 o'clock to 20 o'clock. So like yeah, five to eight. Yeah. Anyway, essentially, this was almost a month after the moment I had my ass grabbed, and when you're doing, for me, I was just doing my basic manager duties that I'm supposed to, I am expected to do. I was doing the tasks, the fucking side quests, if you will, that are expected of the person in charge to be performed. Like, fucking count the inventory, or make sure people get sent home on fucking time, or making sure the deliveries, you go up to these little fucking computer screens and you can literally see if like it almost makes it so easy if you don't even have to be trained, you can just tell, and it's like red, green, or yeah, red, green, yellow, red, fucking I'm tired. So anyway, and you can I was just thinking like it's a really cool concept, but it was like you can pick like, oh hey driver, you're about to take this delivery, won't you take this one, and then you can assign different deliveries. Fucking it's so cool. So anyway, besides that, I'd like to really rub my eye after this. I cannot wait. I'm so excited about my eyeliner this morning. Anyway, think about it every time of like, do I want it to be as sharp as to pierce my enemies? But anyway, um, the reason why I just mentioned that because in poetic justice from throughout all of this, it's like the guy that yelled at me over the phone, that's the regional manager, and I was just calling about my fucking pay stubs not reflecting, and it was like retroactive pay, but eyeliner was probably similar to this or some shit extent, probably a little bit more out there, like, I know, anyway, we're just gonna analyze, I don't give a shit, hi, but, he's like, you look like Amy Winehouse, and I didn't even realize this till, like, afterwards, so I was like, we have the same middle name. Thanks. And, I don't think it was, like, not a good comment. It was not, like, he was trying to say it looks bad. He was just, like, he doesn't know what to say about it or something, but if that was his way of trying to compliment somebody, usually calling somebody like that, anyway, you know, you're like, you just call me fucking, like, I love Amy Winehouse, it just depends, but, you know, I'm not trying to ramble. I went to class this morning, and I'm just, finally glad it's like 5 in the afternoon or evening to sit down and talk about this, and, I want to just fucking wrap this up, because pretty much the main key points, that guy throwing bag change at me, was a delivery driver. I don't know if he still works there, no, probably not, but, I don't even give a shit anymore. At some point, I guess I'm just working at some point at the other store, my original store I start working at, I'm promoted at simultaneously. So there was this guy that had autism or something. This is at this is at the store that I ended up working at, but one of the delivery drivers was talking about somebody, there was a guy there that has autism, and she's like, I swear that R-worded motherfucker, and I was like, damn, like, I'm sorry, but as a pretty girl, I will defend the fucking nerds. We're not even going there, but, like, that's bullshit. I'm sorry. We don't go there. Even pretty girls are dumb too, but shit, come on, dude. The I just put like how I'm not trying to go through all of these. It's like a lot of it's really like you go up to somebody and just ask them about like, is so and so gonna come into work today? And it's just another day, you know, just asking a fucking question, and then the person, I'm pretty sure this is person like that's just a delivery driver, but still he's like, oh yeah, so and so's probably gonna call out today. That seems so. It's like not relevant. It's just like reporting this at the time, or purporting whatever, um, purporting this with everything else amongst it. It's like the toxic work environment was just something I was trying to really display through this, because somebody was discussing chores with somebody else, X and Y, and it's like, yeah, if it were somebody else on the other hand, I wouldn't have a problem helping them with that. Like, there was some really fucking, I'm sorry, but just a random side comment. I don't know if anybody's seen, like, the delivery car drivers, or the delivery cars for Papa John's now. I just saw one recently. It's like, wanna deliver inside me? Or some shit. If anybody from Papa John's that works there, not, like, as an employee, but, like, the higher-ups, if you're watching this, That's fucking disgusting. Fucking. Hopefully somebody does give birth in that car. That'd be really fucking ironic. But like, once at some point, I can't remember if this is after or before the bag throwing incident of change happened. There was one of the delivery drivers there that's like old enough to like be our dad. I'd say ours and like millennial generation, so he's definitely almost in his probably like 80s now. But this is like 10 years ago, so you know he's still thinking like he's got his suave or some shit. But I remember he hugged me and like you don't have to touch a girl's lower back, and I'm not fucking going that prude about it. It's just like, uh, dude motions for a hug and then caresses his hand across, like, yeah. So, I remember at one point, I don't think this is the same day, but if it was, I think that's why I mentioned it. But, like, if I did, I just left that out because that's where I'm like, it's scary. It feels scary to fucking just include all of the details sometimes because they want to make you out to seem hard to work with, a fucking gold digger, a fucking just a Jezebel bitch. Like it sucks. It really does. Uh, it's just kind of some of the other managers just talking shit about each other, but like in a way where they're like, yeah, so and so's always messing up everything on their deliveries, and it's like, well, why don't you help them on that if you're such inclined to talk shit about it, but also you're so good at your fucking job? Um, this is where I was kind of like, and this kind of falls under the discriminatory aspect because there are some people that have worked for that company for so long they have just lost any development towards the sense of like how other people might be in the community in terms of like different cultures and forms of languages. But this one guy, I remember he'd worked there for like ever. I don't know if he still does, but excuse me. I remember I just like graduated high school and he was working there. And this was like excuse me, probably like 2019, 18 and anyway. He said, "Man, I can't stand taking hotel orders. Can't understand anything they're saying." I've got indigestion. I'm not trying to laugh. I'm just laughing at the ignorance of how sheer. You don't have to say anything. They just say it for themselves. You know, it's just like, can't stand taking hotel orders. If I was a delivery driver, I would not mind that. I would be like, hey, I'm sorry, I can't understand you. Can you repeat that, please? I know it's going to piss you off a little bit, but, like, I'm just trying to understand you so I don't get your order wrong. So, just trying to skim through this. I actually did have a dream about this girl recently, which just reminded me of it just now. I was like, oh my god. So I asked the guy that had been working there for a while. Keep in mind that, like, a thumbtack. Keep in mind, like, for a while. I was the only scheduled for me. This is why I wrote this. Working during a busy dinner rush. This was like 6:11 p.m. I guess probably estimated something like that. But the guy responds while laughing because she hates us. Karina hates us. Karina, um, yeah, her last name is a very phallic fucking symbol. But yeah, it just adds to the more of the irony of the whole situation. The operations manager that I spoke to, I had to get to guy that called me Amy Winehouse. His last name's Hooker. Daniel Hooker. I'm sorry. And Karina Koch with an E. You guys are some really evil people, and karma is just gonna catch up to you in a matter of time. You can't outrun karma, but that's not the point of this whole entire video. It was just like randomly. Woo! I've got recordings of still, when I was going, just trying to clear out my flash drive and shit, like, iPhones here recently are, like, so shitty, trying to get, storage and things like that. I was like, I still have the voice recordings of when I was given a forged complaint from Human Resources, and Karina and Daniel were presenting that to me, and I'm just sitting here having a gut feeling. I just woke up from a nap, and I was just like, I'm just here, dude. Like, I just smoked a bowl and shit. I'm just fucking, like, going by sheer gut feeling. Something just felt off, so fucking off about it, and I'm like, just looking up back at them and then back at the paper before I start reading it, that's how bad it felt. So it was, like, not even worth really reading the paper. And I've got the recordings to prove that you guys were just like, here, and like took the page out of my hand. Sign right here. You're not gonna sign, because I told them I'm not going to sign until I have somebody, like an attorney, review it with me, which I didn't have one, but I was trying to find one, which should be anyway, fucking right. But Daniel eventually, I don't know who did it or whatever, but misspelled my name too, but just put refused to sign. Like, that would piss me off, but okay. So he's a nice guy, he just won't shut up. Like, that was at least we will have some silence today, is what they were talking about. This one guy that I actually, weirdly enough, it's not just because it's a small town, but just through common interest, I haven't seen this guy, and this is, like, not trying to ramble, but just once in, like, probably 5 years, probably maybe longer than that, twice in 5 years. Once was just the most recent, and I didn't even I was just, like, going to the grocery store, and I just fucking didn't care, but somebody was like, did you not know who that was? So then they were talking about him, and if there are some ways to him that's bothersome to people, I can't remember if it's not like you're a good or a bad person, I'm not the judge of that either. I can't remember, I'm pretty sure, he's doing okay, he's just, anyway. There's a good, they're talking about the Gentleman's Club. There's a good time to go where you can get all the action. So, sexually charged, toxic work environment type vibes, that's where I was like, yo. This was at 8:14 p.m., March 27th. Probably around the year of. But, essentially, just to provide proof for that, 2018, so we're not that far from it, and these dudes were just talking about best time to go to the Gentleman's Club if you want to get some free, yip yap, whatever. I'm not discriminating against that, but that was just work talk, fucking vocabulary, which is like, some kids were working there in high school, but granted, say it's like, 8 something p.m., they're all gonna be sent home at that point, nobody's gonna really hear it. That's one thing that sucks. Like, I understand that shit, like, can happen. I mean, conversations, you gotta have time and a place fucking for it, that's pretty much it, so. Just everybody complaining about each other. So it goes back to where it's like everybody's just talking shit about each other, and it's like, that. So we're still in March. We're about to get into April, because I pretty much quit working for the store in April. April of... Well, probably about April 16th or something like that. Almost 420 again, but like literally. some people will just stay over for overtime and stuff like that just to abuse that type shit. And this is going into April, but I'm working at the store now. Yeah, so I'd already mentioned that of losing my hours to the point where I'm just working at a completely entirely different store that I didn't ask to work at in the first place, but I was like, hey, I'm losing hours, so like I need that so I can pay rent. Some people at this store that I'm at now would do the overtime shit. I don't want to say like it's a bad thing, but like certain. Don't you love it when the general manager leaves at 6? I reply, why is that? And the guy says, because I'm here on my off day. Somebody else saying, like, are you serious? She just left without sending me home? So this store is like fucking, no man's land type shit. I don't know. Mad Max as fuck vibes. When somebody goes, this is really pissing me off, I'm literally about to order whatever I want to. So you can order yourself food and shit like that. If you've ever worked there, you know what I'm talking about. But yeah. Why doesn't she stay for a full shift? Why doesn't she do her paperwork? Why does she leave early? She fucking screws me over every week. Man, fuck her on some real shit. Fuck her. Like, so, just the tension becoming palpable of me just not I'm not wanting to be a part of that. If I don't I'm starting to realize, you can find other jobs in other ways, and I just kind of know I guess like this job because it didn't fucking drug test and weed needs to be fucking legal. Um, Before I figured out I had ADD, ADHD diagnosis, I think that's like I was literally just having a conversation with my grandmother not too long ago. It helps me focus, but I graduated my high school with honors, like 3 point whatever GPA. But anyway, the different delivery driver does the lower back shit, and yeah, just anyway, yeah, I don't really care to read any of this other shit like that because reliving it, that's one thing I was trying to say too. Reliving it has been fucking really hard enough, and I'm gonna make some posts of updates here later of the outlets from that, thankfully. So if you're still watching this, fucking thankful for you, and you deserve a medal at this point. Um, there was a time I was just like, there was like twins that I worked with, and they just one of them was I never had problems with, but apparently the other one had problems with me for some reason, and I think I might have mentioned this, but we had attended the same modeling class, and we're about in the same age group, but she's like extremely Catholic, I think, but a lot of the things that I would just do just acting like myself, she would just probably that's where before I actually caught on that she's actually like making fun of me and shit. So yeah, she was kind of not one of the best people to call a friend for me at the time. Jokes on her though. I remember we tried out for Birmingham Fashion Week. She didn't make it, but I did. But that's not to be mean. The She needed a ride and I let her ride with me. So anyway, this is a different day. So totally random. I'm just trying not to keep this as fucking. I feel like robotic or some shit. I already am. And I told somebody like the twin is like, hey, did you post your tip? When you get a tip, you have to like post that so it's like it's showing why the register till is not having so many dollars. and I let somebody else know that, and he's like, he will take care of it. So that's where I just put that down in case they don't take care of it. Because it fucking sucks when you have to get to that point. If somebody doesn't do their job, you got to write that shit down. You have got to write that shit down. Doesn't matter if you're probably not going to need it. Just like now, how I don't probably need it. I'm using this as some type of like guide if somebody has unfortunately gone through some shit like this. You know, this is helping me just talk about it. So if this helps someone that is currently going through it, that'll help me fucking feel so much better after going through this. But just keeping all this fucking paperwork, I guess that's the main reason. It's like, I noticed there's a deposit from the previous night. This is I open. It's like 7:30 a.m. And I call this girl that's at the other store that's manager to let her know. Just leave it aside and I'll look at it when I come in later. Hope we don't get fucking robbed. I'm attempting to calculate and gather the monetary items needed for that day first, because you got to make sure you just have so much money in your fucking register, and, you know, anyway. Oh, I'm attempting... I just read that. I was not told the combination to the time delay safe, so that some of them do have a time to count the store money. And I called her about an hour later to just let her know about that, because the store doesn't really technically open yet, so I still had kind of some time, and that was probably the last thing I had to do. Anyway, I didn't write down entirely but after just waiting for it to open, I tried to open again. The lock doesn't give in. Oh yeah, you got to push her. I called her again about 8:40, and it was like, anyway, about 20 minutes after the second call. So the third call, she's like, oh yeah, you got to push the door when it unlocks to open it. Forgot to mention. Sorry. So I was just like, oh my god. Like, not, I'm gonna fucking, holy shit, this is like a part of a toxic work environment report, but it's just mentioned amongst the amalgamation of things of why the company is such. If you're wondering why your company isn't doing so fucking well, here's why, I guess. So, I'm not here to be like, we need to communicate and work together. You should fucking all get along. Like, you can agree to disagree, okay? We're about a fucking month away from elections, so anyway, we're not even trying to get political here. Hopefully somebody can agree at least one thing I've said so far, and that's why we're here. But, let's see. This is just that same manager I was talking to. This is a different incident, occurrence, whatever. I received a call from the food order commissary representative just telling me, I'm calling to inform you of your receiving truck order for the next week. It seems as if someone has ordered the maximum amount of ranch sauce cup cases, but it says they have not listed for any garlic cup cases. Would you like to add that to this order? I tell the person I will call my general manager immediately to notify them of this. Is there any way I can call you guys back because she's not present right now? They're like, that's fine. So, just to call back before a certain time. I call the manager, told her, she goes, oh shit, I forgot to tell Summer to put that on there. Yeah, just tell her to add. So, this kind of just is basically the painting of what the fuck ever we're trying to present here, portrait-wise, of. If you would be stressed out too, I'm pretty sure you'd be stressed out too in this situation. I'm starting to go dyslexic. And, yeah, somebody just like already saying, oh, I'll bet you somebody's gonna pull some shady shit when they're looking at the schedule and call out, oh, okay, never mind. This is me reading it wrong, but still, the person reading this is basically saying like, oh, so-and-so's gonna call out because I read the schedule wrong. So it's just a lot of like, yeah, preemptively, like, I know that stuff happens pretty much all the time, and to this extent where I was at this time and place, it was vile. Vile in the sense of like atrocious. Like if I was a fucking, I don't know, some type of business manager that really didn't give a shit if I was probably going to be eminently like framed for some fucking fraudulent shit. That's the kind of store you'd want to be working at if you were that type of person. But like, don't mind me and my random side jokes. But the main problem, the main fact of this is like, it gets to the point where there's now inner conflicts with the people that are making the schedule and things like that. Just whatever, those type of people. I look at the schedule and somebody says while looking at it, and they go, "Man, that shit was fucked up about Monday." And I go, "Why?" And the person says that she's scheduled out at 8 p.m. and so didn't know because she printed the schedule. Anyway, also mentions she's scheduled to close, but she scheduled somebody else to close because they're probably fighting. Yes. Yes. Papa John's was letting employees run their businesses like a shit show of a soap opera. And I'm here to be living to tell about it, I guess. I'm here to live to tell about it, but still, it's not fun to. This is making me feel better that we're almost done, basically. Just, huh. Somebody's looking for the brownie cutter, because I know there's like a little brownie. That shit's so good. I kind of miss that now. Anyway, it's just like a little straight blade with the handle, wooden handle. It's just normal fucking cookware, whatever, accessories, and he found it in the trash. I don't know how it ended up there. And eventually, that same day too, I called the food commissary person back to order the 6 cases of garlic. Fucking cups, Jesus Christ. So, the same day I'm opening, that's when I put down that somebody arrives for work that's not scheduled, and then they said that the person that's like the. Anyways, Sarah. I'm not trying to mince my fucking. I'm tired of fucking being afraid, I guess. Sarah told me to. The guy says he told her to. He told. She told him to come in. She didn't tell him why she needed him this morning. And then this person, same day, different person, was like, this schedule says 10 a.m., but it's marked out. I've got a photo, and there's a reprint that says 11 a.m. I feel like that's a big important one, though, for real. Like, so, yeah, a very, very clear indicator for anybody that is curious what it was like. I'm very happy to be away from that. There was an incident where there was. This is all on the same day, too. This was not. What this incident is being described did not happen in the same day, but that's where I was like, whoa, okay, yeah. Anyway, mentions an incident where there was $500 missing. Some of the people that were working there were resulting of that was because of them quitting. They quit because I don't know. They quit because of it. I think there was 500 missing, and the result ending with 2 managers quitting. So anyway, there was extra pizzas coming out that have no designated label attached to the box. I'm currently attending the oven station. I just wrote this down like this. I don't care. I quickly place each extra pizza in an empty box and set it aside to handle the rush. So there was no labels, and if you do what I was doing and you work that, you know what I'm talking about. It's like, oh shit, I don't fucking, you have to go back and fucking hope to God you fucking, one that has what, onions on it, if you can see the onions or somebody's not allergic to it, you know, you gotta make sure. And it's just becoming the oven heating rack. It's like where you set the pizzas down. It's starting to become to the point where it's so high the heat rod is going to fucking set fire to the cardboard box if it goes anymore. There's delivery drivers standing and talking. I call out, "Hey, someone please clear the heating rack so I can have some more room, please. Thanks." Like, it was not in that tone. I know it was very much so like, "Hey, somebody," you know. I was slightly annoyed at that point because there was, it's like after being assisted, Sarah asked, "Hey, where are the pizzas for the church order?" So if anybody ever works there and has heard me say that, your skin's probably fucking like, you probably just got goosebumps just like I did right now. Oh my god. Straight up goosebumps. But, man, if your church order places an order, you're gonna have to get ready to make about 20 to 50 probably something pizzas. It's usually like cheese or pepperoni, but pepperoni's just like, that's the most time consuming thing, but whatever. It's fucking pizza, dude. It's not like Hell's Kitchen. But anyway, there has to be a certain rotation at some point, especially if somebody's getting really, really caught up or like so behind on shit they can't get caught up and it's gonna affect business. Somebody's got to help at some point. That's when I tell Sarah I put all the extra pizzas with no labels in a box to the side because I was not informed of multiple orders consisting of numerous pizzas. Sarah asks why did they not have labels? I tell Sarah I had not had the time to walk away, and if anybody works there knows, you know, you have to walk around this whole entire fucking thing, and then this little thing that prints out stickers and shit. There's like two jobs separately. One person catching those pizzas coming out, one person putting the labels on the fucking boxes and then just setting them up there. That's a two-person job at best if you have pizzas that are like this type of capacity. I just said I didn't have time to walk away because it was backed up and I didn't want the pizzas to get burnt. Excuse me. So if your pizza gets burnt, then that's going to add more time for, you know, and this is going to piss off. Nobody wants that. Papa John's makes it very clear that that's not what they would like to happen. So anyway, Sarah assists with labeling pizza boxes. Instead of just asking me why could, anyway, so I had asked the same girl about my Equal Employment Opportunity Center coming up, and I needed off for that day, and then she was like, "Oh shit, I forgot." And I think even if you write it down too, it doesn't really matter. They still have like a thing to write it down, but they don't check it, I guess. But there was like, I'm not homophobic or anything, but it's like two girls. They're just like pretty much groping in front of the fucking store, play fighting over a sticker label, but like an intimate level or some shit where basically like Papa John's is set up to where you can see people making your food, and it wouldn't have mattered if this type of shit was happening like not in fucking public, but if I was just the store manager, I'd be like, dude, fucking don't do that like right here in front of everybody. But anyway, didn't really bother me. I was just like, what the fuck? Like, anyway, I'm just trying to work with my eyes closed. I don't fucking know. It didn't bother me. It's just like PDA and shit, dude. Come on. The I'm taking a phone order in the office. After I close the transaction, Summer and I begin to discuss the previous order confusion. Victoria throws an object towards my direction, slamming it into the wall while I'm talking to Summer. I'm taking the phone order. Victoria leans over, kisses Summer, then sits in her lap. I ask the customer to please hold while I ask for delivery time. And yeah, I'm like at that point leaning over and just seeing that, which is fine, but I'm just like, what's the delivery time? It's hard to take it seriously. I ask them, she replies, somebody stands up and leaves. After I proceed to follow up with the order, they sit back on each other's lap, and I was just like, okay, whatever. But yeah, so it doesn't bother me. It's just like that's a workplace, I guess, you know. But anyway, the delivery driver table, the delivery. So if anybody's a delivery driver, that's where you put your fucking pizza box with the pizza in it. And if you like have to like make any last minute like looks at it or just make sure it's right, that's where you usually do it at. And at this point, there was two girls that was it doesn't bother me like gender. I just think it's funny, but like the delivery driver table station with Summer between her legs while hugging each other and somebody sitting on top of it. So it's like somebody's right here between me and I just got my legs wrapped around him and shit. But my ass is basically where your food would be at if you didn't know. And unfortunately, that day some people had some ass flavored pizza. I'm sorry, but oh my god. So people just forgetting to put up the pizza labels and shit. Like what caused for me to have like the oven almost back up and shit. And somebody told me that they're being laid off too. Can't wait to start their new job. And this is somebody I think that's this dude has a disability. Summer says to me, dude, I don't know how the fuck Summer took the wrong delivery. I mean, there's fucking labels on everything. So she's just talking shit about this dude that has fucking disability and shit. Yeah, so like either way, if it's cool or not cool, like yeah, you're in a fucking workplace, and if you are a type of person of notoriety, you should be careful what you say, I guess. So pretty much this is just following up on, you know, somebody said, Sarah said to me, I'm so glad that you transferred from here to here. And I said, why? I wish I had corrected that at the time. Because you do more than most of the fuckers that are here. Oh, jeez. So, yeah, somebody dropping a really bad word. I can't say out loud, but yeah. Somebody said I hate closing with Sarah because I gotta play catch up. Man, when Daniel hired Sarah back, the store cash kept coming up $100 short. I know that dumbass made the wrong decision. He even came up and made me open up my wallet thinking I was stealing. So, oh, okay. April 14th. April 15th, sorry. I'm just like we found it. That's the bag throwing change of that happening. 4:47. I'm not worried about no goddamn Papa John's. That's what that dude said as he throws his shit at me. Okay, to walk through this real quick, the page numbers are not printed correctly, which is crazy. I'm calling to get in touch with them because a woman called the store to inform me that she had seen a driver of the Papa John's car topper driving recklessly and almost sideswiping a bridge. I called the dude, I received another call about the dude driving recklessly from a male, and that was within like 10 minutes, 2 calls. I called the dude, no answer, leave him a voicemail. This is your first warning. If you do not show up at the store within 15 to 30 minutes, I'm writing you up. Like it matters. Like, I'm trying, I know. About 2 hours later, that's when the dude finally gets back over there. And my heightened sense of awareness when I left off on that earlier, and I'm so glad I just remember that now. The dude tried to leave the store because his wife was like, make sure he doesn't leave. So I'm sitting there like, yeah, I got fucking 2 hours left, or maybe not even an hour left. I'm giving a guy his change for an order he paid for, and then out of my periphery, I see this guy that's not supposed to leave the store fucking try to leave the store, and I just drop the guy's change. His hands almost extended, almost like fucking vividly, but anyway. Poor dude's change somewhat drops out, but he got some of it enough where I'm just charging after this guy. And I put my back into him because I'm like, I'm not doing no hands situation. But I just pushed my back into him. And I'm like, nope, you're not leaving. Nope, no. And at some point eventually, until my shift was over, that's as far as I know, he was back inside of that store. I had to really, literally, with all of my power, as like a 5'8.5", technically, I don't want to say 5'9", but anyway, 120 something pound chick. You got pretty much only capable of like mental strength, so I had to just, yeah, like power push from behind or something, I guess, but like with my butt, but not like, in that way, but I had my arms extended out too, and I don't think I put that in here, because, yeah, the next day was the next entry, so it was so traumatizing. Glad I finally got that out. That's the point, though. Like, the dude tried to leave, and nobody else stopped him. Nobody else was going to let him not leave. So I'm like, after everybody pretty much was fully aware, some people had picked him up, and surely the fuck enough, people were talking about it. So, like, yeah. At that point, I had lost weight too, so I'm like skinnier than I am now. Like, I can't imagine me being, yeah. Anyway. I'm leaving. This is the next day. I have arrived to work. I'm exhausted. I'm trying to clock in Sarah. I'm leaving the store to pay my mom back. I'll be back in 10 because Summer didn't close the system last night. So when you don't close the system, that's going to fuck up a lot of things entirely. Just POS fucking bullshit wise. This is the second time somebody has not closed the system. Sarah says Summer sells pills to Chris at work. Poor drug addicts getting drugs sold to them at work. Can't be selling drugs, especially to teenagers that work here. This was presented in front of people at court, and they didn't take that seriously. That's where I'm like, dude, holy shit. So, Sarah just got off the phone with Bill from PJ United. Sarah says, Bill just told me to clock the fuck out. April 16th. And that was 11:40 a.m. I don't know. So I'm in the back folding boxes, and I just overheard Sarah talk to her friend about. I was so drunk the other night, dude. That was the best sex of my life. Woke up to some good morning sex with Kara. Got me some night sex. Even after we had sex, we went back to some gymnastics shit. She went, yeah, and I was like, fuck. I'm sitting there folding boxes, and that shit just echoes throughout the entire fucking store. So I don't know if I was the only one present, but you could not hear that unless you had, like, this shit in. Sarah says to a friend in store, you literally cannot have a pussy in a relationship. You need to grow some balls. Okay, so now we're back at the beginning, and pretty much the turnout of all this was this all being reviewed, and then especially once I had gotten in touch with Becky from Human Resources, and the claim, I guess, the claim, not from me, I guess, but, like, I guess she responded back to my sexual harassment claim, basically. I was about to say harassment. Karina is shaking her head in a refusing to believe manner while I'm telling Daniel about the incident. This is February 2nd. He doesn't follow up the advice, Daniel, on offering any paperwork for filing a claim. I give him my own personal reports, documents, photos, and he's the one, I guess, that relays that to Becky at Human Resources. He tells me that he will speak with her and for me to wait for contact from them. If somebody says tell you to wait for contact, be ready to just already be like, oh shit, not even a week has passed by, probably like day 3, start being like, who the fuck do I need to call to say, hey, this is my complaint, type shit, because eventually that's what I had to do. And pretty much just call and leave a voicemail like, hey, I'm just following up because I haven't heard from you. I don't think I had to do that. If I did, I don't remember. I don't think I did or not. So it was very odd, just the call already. She's like, this call is going to be recorded for any use of documentation or statement, which is fine, but the way she goes about it is really what sucks, is bullshit. But she just asked me questions about it. I told the 2 managers, Karina and Daniel, I'd like to file a claim. Series of incidents involving me being touched, and then that from retaliation and shit like that. I just didn't, that made me feel uncomfy enough to really just fucking speak up about it, which sucks. So don't let it keep happening until something needs to be said. That's already really bad. But it sucks that we're conditioned to think that way, I guess. Becky repeats the same question over until I'm in a state of distress and I'm pleading for her to just read my report. I just remember just like, did he or did he not, or some shit like that. But I'm like, I can't remember exactly, but it was to the point where somebody's asking you a question and it's like they're trying to make you confess to something that didn't fucking happen. I know HR people are supposed to be there for you, but it's so ironic. She says, we'll investigate that report that you provided and we will go from there. I just put, she doesn't follow up the conversation offering any advice or criteria from filing the claim. So, like, it was just pretty much like, what the fuck, I wrote down all this hoopla and being sent to somebody. And if that was enough to be opened as a fucking deposition, like a judge or a person just sitting down and listening to it, then that's pretty fucking enough evidence for that should have been toxic work environment, sexual harassment, fucking retaliation. Because on that note, I'd like to end it with that being the shitty news first, and that court case, it didn't go in favor, but with all that documentation that I just kind of provided you, and that incident where I had a complaint that was forged presented to me, and I was like almost forced to sign it, and I just didn't have a good feeling about it. The human resources lady, Becky, was there at the deposition, and I just kind of, I didn't resent her. I just wanted her to see, like, how much weight I had lost, how, like, gaunt I looked and shit, to the point where I was even, like, crying and all that good shit, but, I wanted her to see what I went through, but I got to at least hear the fact that she admits under oath that she forged, and that's why I kept saying forged earlier, but she completely confirmed that that was a forged document of an employee or a customer complaint. A customer complaint that I was playing loud, offensive music and dancing suggestively. I will never forget that. Because I was like, I was all in my feels. I think that was around Valentine's Day, so I was much more fucking like, I'm like, no, but just to sip on that, that's where it's really, I would like for people to know that, especially after me have going through that, and the fact that you're still listening and all that, I really appreciate it. It really means a lot. The updates here lately, I've started school, finally. I've been meaning to start school. I've just been pursuing modeling in the meantime, but without jobs here recently because of AI fucking shit up. I've been wanting to go back to school anyway, and just wasn't sure what major, and that freaked me out, I guess. So I thought that you had to like know your yeah, I know. Silly. So I wish I'd started a lot sooner, but I'm gonna post some of the drawings that I've done. I'm in drawing class right now. I had that today actually too, and we're working with ink wash. My armpit's itching right now. I don't care. But we're working with ink wash, and my teacher held up my fucking drawing. I was like, oh shit, that was cool. And the registration for school in August, when we did that, I showed that painting that I did. I don't know if I posted that yet. If I haven't, I will. Of a fairy that I did. And this artist, her name's Amy Brown. She does like really cool like fairies, like personality, archetype type fairies. I don't know. They're just basic fairies, but they've got like their own personality and shit. But it's cool. The colors. She is really pretty. Fucking, I wanted to paint that for my mom. She asked for it. But anyway, I showed that to a teacher. I didn't know who it was. He was helping me register my classes, and I happened to just tell him I was interested in art shit. He was like, hey, it's like, it was his response. It was like super quiet, and I was just like, he subtly just went like, if you're interested, I would love to have you work for the set production, and he's gonna have like a play coming up in November, which is like a month from now with this video being recorded, so hopefully we'll have some scenery from that. I did do a sketch, so I'll post that too. I think I've still got that. And throughout that, just trying to manage life like anybody else is. I don't know how the fuck we're able to still afford how to live, you know? And shout out to you for fucking being here. So, mostly with tying up any loose ends with that, be persistent. Don't give up, you know, obviously, but also just be persistent. Like, don't fall. I would say don't fold over. Literally, don't fold over though. Don't let people think you into believing something, because that's one thing about psychology. If you fucking tell yourself something so much so, you'll believe it. Don't fucking let the, even if you know, like, you've seen it, you've fucking, not even just by grasp, sheer, just fucking witnessing it. You don't have to oblige by what people say. Like, don't let a damn soul tell you how to feel, what to feel, any of that shit. And yeah, so with that being said, yeehaw. Happy spooky season. It's October 1st, and that's basically the story of all this. If I make another YouTube video, it'll probably be about something else, but other than that, see ya. Peace.